So you invoked a new god or goddess and want to know if the invocation worked? Let's talk about it. Hey, it's Ashlyn, your local witchy bestie. Little mini banshee's in the room. You will hear her play with toys. We all got lives outside of TikToks, okay? Let's dive in. I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb here and say that the reason you're asking if an invocation worked is because it's a totally new god or goddess that you are working with. Am I right? It's okay to feel like you don't know what's going on. It's okay to wonder if it worked. It's a learning experience. If it's a new god or goddess that you have not worked with before, or maybe it's your first invocation, just know it's normal. It's normal to wonder if it worked and if you did it right. Just know that like any new deity that comes into your life that you begin working with, it's a learning experience. It's no different than learning a new language or a new hobby. Yes, even if you do your research, it will still feel brand new. And this is because you can have all the research in the world, learning from other different practitioners and how that particular deity likes their offerings and their invocations, but you yourself are not physically attuned to that spirit's energy yet. So, how do you know what to look for? You don't. And that is why the first few invocations are going to feel weird, disconnected, because you don't know that deity yet, and that's okay. Well, then how do you know if it worked? How you'll know it worked is by subtle shifts and changes around you between 24 and 72 hours after that first invocation. It will feel like things like room temperature shifts, the change in the way the energy feels around you, appetite changes, different smells, different house settling noises that weren't there before, subtle imagery, memories popping up. It will feel subtle and small. And that's okay. It's you learning what that deity likes, how they respond. You can use divination tools, but I would avoid re-invoking for that 72-hour window to see if anything comes through that you can notice. And journal. I think it's also important to mention here that a lot of people go into invocation with this expectation to prove something exists. Your intention will lead the invocation. We are not invoking to give the spirit a test. That will never work. It will not lead to the manifestation you see. So simply use your invocation as an introduction to your goals and purpose with said deity, and your results will be smoother, easier to notice, much different. Please don't go into invocations with this idea that you need to analyze and prove everything. When you are journaling in said invocation, journal in the moment. Don't try to analyze what you are feeling and journaling in that moment. You will miss things. Just journal, analyze later. Go back to those feelings and the things you journaled in the invocation as you wait for their answer. Are there similarities? Are there differences? Is there a pattern? So as you go and develop a relationship with your deity, the signs and answers will be a lot clearer. You will have a better understanding of how they operate. And it will be a lot easier to identify if a petition, if a contract, if a calling invocation work. Be careful not to overthink. I'll say anxiety people have a tendency to overthink everything and you will miss messages. They tend to be cryptic. They tend to be layered. And if you overanalyze, you will miss messages. I myself am guilty of this. So just use your discernment. Use your good judgment. Trust your intuition. Look for the subtleties around you and you will find your answers. And then when you re-invoke and develop the relationship, it'll be a lot easier to spot the answers as they come in.